Welcome to AA Games. I'm Steve and I'm joined by Saul, and we today are going to be playing Mantic Games Barroom Brawl, which they released for this Christmas as their advent calendar. Now, special thanks to George, who spent a lot of time and effort preparing the miniatures for us today so we could play. And as it is a game normally for 3 people, we have reduced the rules a little bit because there's only 2 of us today. And so I am going to defer to the younger game player, and that would be Saul, because within the rules of Barroom Brawl, the youngest player is the player to start. So Saul,
yes,
can you start for us today?
I've got the token, so yes.
You've got the token.
Yes, first player token.
Nice.
So, first of all, we should pick our character. So I'm going to be red.
Okay, and I think because, well, it's closest to me, I'm going to be blue. So
Sensible.
we'll clear away the tokens we don't need.
We don't need those ones. Get rid of them. So, are we going to explain the rules, or are we just going to go for it?
I think we just go for it, right?
Okay, right, cool.
Okay. You guys can pick it up as we go along. If there's anything you need to know, drop it down in the comments. We'll get back to you, and we'll give some explanation on the rules as we go. Now,
yes.
We're playing without rules today. There is no safety net. We've played this a few times, and we're trying to play it. Oh, Saul's taking. We're trying to get this so that actually we can just play it through. And if we get anything wrong, do you know what, guys? It's Christmas, okay? Let the festive season fill you, and don't be too harsh on the comments if we get anything wrong. Okay, thanks very much. So Saul.
So, first thing that I can do then is I can move up to 6, and then if I pick anything up, I have to move 1 less than that. So, I'm going to make a beeline for an item by going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a little bit of an iffy decision because I'm right next to a number 6. If I'd landed on that, then there's no chance of getting kicked out the pub by the barman. Not that he can kick you out, it's only the bouncer that can kick you out.
It's the bouncer that can kick you out, it is indeed. So Saul's done his move.
Yeah.
At the early stages of this game, obviously what you're going to find is that we don't give a full rules explanation. So I'm going to do a very similar thing to Saul. I'm not going to play it safe either, to be brutally honest. I'm just going to go straight for the object that I have as my eye of desire. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Which is a foolish thing to do. I'm going to take that back somewhere. 6. I'm literally mimicking you. I mean, I don't mean to.
It's a bit like boring people playing chess.
It is like boring people. It's Queen's Gambit all over the place, isn't it? So that, as Saul has had his go and I've had my go, brings us to the end phase section, which is where the barman and the bouncer get to have their goes. Now, obviously, they are. How would you describe those, Saul?
Not very hospitable.
Not very hospitable. Indeed. We use the term NPCs, but they're not NPCs because they're actually quite active in the game. So, there goes Saul. Saul, would you like to roll the dice to see what happens?
In the rules, you are meant to roll for the barman, and then you're meant to roll for the goblin.
Yes.
However, we've decided it's just easier to roll them together. So, if the red is the... I've just taken yours, but I have some of mine. Oh, well. So... red will be for the barman, green will be for the goblin. That's going to be almost always the case whenever we roll. So, what we can see is we can see a 1 and we can see a 4. So, the barman will go to 1, which he's already on, so he doesn't move, and then the goblin will go to 4, which is down here. And because they're not adjacent to anyone, they will do nothing. And then, that's the end of the turn, and Steve gets player 1 token.
Awesome. So, I get player 1 turn. Obviously, if there are multiple players going on, this token would go around and around and around. But as it is, just Saul and I, we're just going to be flipping the token to and fro. So, the barman and the goblin could, if there were anybody adjacent to them, have had an activation at the end of that turn. Thankfully, Saul and I, we're a bit savvy to this, and we didn't fall for the trap. Now, I get to go first, and I've got to make a beeline for some tokens. Now, I could go for tokens that are close to me, I could go for tokens that are further away, but I'm planning to just grab what I can and make a bolt for my table, basically. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to stop at that point. Now, at the end of a movement, every character can have an action. And my action on this turn is going to be to grab myself a stack of bottles by the looks of it. So I'm going to take my stack of bottles and I'm going to acquire that, and that then next turn will influence my movement, and we'll tell you how it influences the movement when next we move. But until that time, Saul, pass the turn to you.
So I'm probably just going to do the exact same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do I want to? So this is where decisions have to happen, because I could head towards Steve and try and cut him off. Because as soon as he's grabbed the second item, he's only moving 4 and I'm moving 6. So I could go and attack him, or I could just focus on my own gameplay for now. And that's the strategy that we need to decide on. But it's quite boring if I just sit there, grab my own stuff. So I'm going to start making my way towards you.
Okay, so that's a bit scary pants, isn't it? Because Saul's now got it in his head he's going to come and get me and grab whatever I've grabbed. It is a barroom brawl after all. So it's quite likely that there'll be some shenanigans later in that regard. Before that happens though, Saul, because you are not in an adjacent square, so you can't take an action to duff me up, I will roll to see what happens with our local resident barman and goblin. Green for goblin, and the barman is going to move to place number 3, at which, if there were any spillages around there, I've been on the wine, if there were any spillages around there, he would have cleaned them up, but he doesn't need to, and the goblin goes to position 6. So we're both okay, because there's nothing adjacent to either barman or goblin, and therefore they don't do anything. As a consequence, the phase or the turn ends, and I pass turn 1 to you, Saul.
So, because obviously at the end of the turn, the other player, or technically the person to your left, would get the player 1 token, and they get to take their first move. Which works in my favour here, because I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to say, get out of my way.
Thanks so much, bro. I mean, it's not very festive of you, but, you know, I appreciate your sentiment.
This is an action that you can do, which is where we roll off. And I'm basically attacking Steve here. Now, Steve gets a -1 for having an item.
But he's rolled a big 6.
I've rolled a 5. So, mine's just 5, natural 5. Steve's becomes a 5. And then, because he's the defender, Steve wins that one.
As a consequence of winning that particular little argy-bargy session, I have 2 choices. Okay, the first choice is I can knock Saul down, which is very tempting in this early phase of the game, because I now have a go myself, so I can get away from Saul at a rate of knots. The second thing is, if Saul were to be carrying any items himself, I could pinch those items, shove him away, and then I just move away or move into the space that he's just left. As it is, because it's early doors, and that I think was particularly uncharitable old sport, so I'm going to knock Saul off his feet. As a consequence of so doing, he will have a penalty next turn he moves. But this turn, he just looks a bit daft, because he's just come charging in, and he's knocked me, attempted to knock me off my feet, but I've sidestepped him, tripped him, and down he goes. So, Saul, I'm going to now take my turn, if that's okay, because that's the end of your turn. Right, I've got my item. Naturally. But because I'm carrying something, I'm carrying a token, I now have a movement penalty myself. So I've gone from 6 spaces being able to move down to 5 because I carry 1 token. If I were carrying 2 tokens, I'd go down to 4, but that's the maximum I can carry, so my movement is never going to get down to 2. So on we go. A 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, so 5, we stop there. I'm taking a gamble, okay? I'm gambling that when we roll these dice, the barkeep or the goblin are not going to be occupying space number 3, because if they stay there, I run the risk of getting a little bit of argy-bargy from those 2 characters. So, moving on. Sorry, Saul, do you want to use your own dice, or do you want to use my dice?
I use these dice, why not?
It's very generous, right?
Should be pointed out, you wouldn't normally get 2 sets of dice. But we bought more than 1 box.
Yeah, because we like it that much.
So, barman, unfortunately, goes to number 1. So he moves to number 1, well away from Steve. However, I can't see the board, and the goblin stays at 6. I thought Steve was by 6. I got excited for no reason.
He did. He got his hopes up. But I'd already spotted from the dice roll that I was safe for this round, which is pretty cool. So Neither barman nor goblin are going to be doing anything to
play
either
path
of
is
us.
you.
Thank you very much. And now I come to my turn. Now, I've been quite jammy there, haven't I, really? Because I got the tail end of the last turn. I get the start of this turn, so I get the benefit effectively of 2 movements because there's only 2 players. And nobody has accosted me on the way. No goblin has come in my face. No bouncer is going to come and try and shove me out of the way. And the barman is happy he's not cleaning up spillages. So I am going to move straight into my home space on my table. I'm going to use my action to deposit my first item, and that is the end of my turn. But I feel really quite good about this. I think it's going really well. Over to you, Saul.
So, because I'm knocked down, all I can do is stand up and move up to 2. Now, if I had an item, that'd be 1. If I had 2 items, that'd be 0. All I can do is stand up and move. And I think I'm going to stand up. I know that Steve already has one of these tokens banked, so he can't win with another one of those tokens. So I'm not gonna steal it from him, but I may head towards this to try and steal that one from him, and then I'll end the turn. It's over to the NPCs.
Right, so Saul has used a bit of savvy there, and if he grabs that one, I'm going to have to go and grab it from him or knock him out so that I can actually get that for myself at a later time. So I'm going to roll for the NPCs and see if one of them turns up at space number 2, because if they do, happy days, some shenanigans could occur. Oh, and indeed, look at that, it's a mighty double 2. It's not only the single 2, it's the double 2. So the first thing that happens is the barman has to move first. So the barman moves to location number 2, and the goblin would also then occupy space number 2. However, because space number 2 is already occupied, the goblin is then shunted onto the next available space in a clockwise direction, which is number 3, and so he occupies space 3. That does mean, though, that the barman has an opportunity at this stage to interfere with what Saul has planned. His shenanigans are afoot. So, would you like me to roll for this chap as I'm the first player? I think I should. And on a 1 for the barman, all he does is ignores you, but he can take from you whatever you've got in your possession. On a 2 to 3, what happens, Saul? On a 2 to 3,
the barkeeper yells at the hero to slow down. The player's hero is knocked over. Off the top of my head, anyway.
Yeah, off the top of his head. Now, on a 4 to a 6, nothing happens. He just yells at you and ignores you. So we're looking for a 2-3 on this one, okay? And we're going to get a mighty 4, which is not what we're after, let's be honest. For a bit of fun and games, what we wanted, actually, was something along the lines of a 2 or 3. The barman just barkeep rather, yells at Saul and ignores the fact that he's stood there in full view looking to get shoved over. I mean, who wouldn't have done that anyway? So, sorry, Saul. I got all that drama and excitement up for no good reason. Turn now passes. Saul becomes player 1, and now he has the opportunity to really disrupt my game.
I do, because... Well, actually, there's not a lot I can do, because I could walk towards you and not do much, or I could take the opportunity to steal an item. However, if I move there, I have to stay there, because you have to move and then do an action. So 1, 2, do the action. I may have 2 moves left, but I can't use them because I've done an action. So now I'm stuck there.
Indeed, that ends Saul's turn. So you always have to do the move action in that sequence. It's very clear in the rules. So you can move and then do an action, but not the other way around, as the rule says. So Saul finds himself a little bit stranded. He's a bit stuck. So in my turn, I'm back up to a full movement allowance of 6. I'm going to take a bit of a gamble. And I'm going to take a gamble that NPC is going to move out of the way. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to put myself adjacent to Saul. And I'm going to take a gamble that barkeep is not going to be there at the end of the dice roll. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to insist, Saul, I'm very sorry, that you get out of my way.
I see.
Okay, so we're going to do the same roll off we did in the first turn. Saul's at a -1 because he's carrying something. I am a natural dice roll, and with a dice roll of 5 and Saul's dice roll of 4, I have beaten Saul. Now, in this situation, because the attacker is successful and has defeated the opponent, I can do two things. I can steal the object that Saul is carrying, or I can leave it with him if I want to, and I can shove him out of the way. It's a little bit like Blood Bowl. So if you were thinking about blocking in Blood Bowl, it's the same sort of principle. So I've won the dice roll. I am going to steal that objective. Do you know what? He's gone to the trouble of gathering it. I'd like that objective, please, Saul.
Absolutely.
Thanks very much. So I've stolen his objective, and I'm going to push Saul just a little bit away from me, just in case he gets knocked down, or it just gives me a bit of additional leeway in terms of getting away in the next turn. Bear in mind, Saul is player 1, so I'm on player 2. Well, I'm at a minus when I next move. Now, the only thing we need to consider is whether this barman / barkeep actually moves, or whether he stays in location number 2.
I
Saul,
hope he doesn't.
over to you, Saul.
Move those ones out the way. So, barman gets a 6, and goblin gets a 5. So the barman moves over here, and the goblin moves over here. And that is the end of the turn.
And I have to say, the dice gods are shining on me today. Good Lord Almighty. So, the dice roll has seen both of the protagonists, the barkeep and the goblin, the bouncer, moving away. I'm carrying an objective, so I need to be 5 away from my home base before I can go and drop it so I can get onto it. And I am first player, so I'm just going to make a beeline for that. I don't think I've got the juice to get there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've pulled up short, which sucks. But what I can do at the end of my turn, at any stage in it, as a free action, is to drop the token that I'm carrying. So because Saul is probably going to come and try and pinch this from me, and he's probably also going to try and come and insist I get out of his way as a consequence, I'm going to drop the token to get me back onto a natural dice roll without a -1 in my turn. I know, strategy, right? Who would have thought it from me? It doesn't happen often. I now pass the turn to Saul.
So, there is a way that I can go over there and steal both of those. But the question is, do I want to? Because you're kind of guarding them. Or I can just go and just play my own game. And apparently fighting you and relying on dice really doesn't work in my favour. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to take a beer token. And I'll end my turn there.
Very sensible. I think actually probably the most sensible choice you could have made, because you know the dice gods are on my side today. They're just not rolling for you, are they, mate? Sadly. So let's go see what our NPCs do. Barkeep and goblin, and on this occasion, the barkeep is going to move to position 1. The goblin with a 5 stays in location because he's already at position 5, and he stays where he is in position 5. Again, I think I'm getting off quite lightly. We've got the barkeep has moved over to position number 1, and the goblin is at position 5. Nobody is coming to banish me from this pub today, but we'll see how that goes. It might actually go against me later when the luck turns. Let's be honest, it does that these days, doesn't it? Everyone rolls ones every once in a while, so do I. I've passed the token over, my friend. It's over to you for your first turn.
I'm going to kind of waste a turn here. I'm just going to move 1 and take a token. Which, bit of a waste of a turn. Bit of a gamble. Now only move 4. Hopefully, it works out all right. I'm hoping.
I think he's done the right thing, actually.
Maybe. I
think in starting to, consolidate your position and actually concentrate what you need to carry back to your home base, that's a really sensible move. I am going to take full advantage of the fact that Saul is occupied in his own game, and I'm going to pick up for free, which I can do at any point during my turn, the token that is on the ground. I'm going to move on to my home base, and then I'm going to leave that token on my table, which I have to do as my action, and so that ends my turn. The one thing I regret not doing, having just raced through to next, I was so excited to get that token onto my table, but actually I forgot to put down a spillage token, which I will be doing next turn, if I remember.
I mean, we've both forgotten to do that.
I know, but hey, we're just in the festive mood, mate. We're in the festive mood.
I use these dice then.
Yeah, cool.
So, NPC's turn. So that's a 4 and a 6. So Barman now moves to 4, which is down here. And then the Goblin moves to 6, which is over here. And again, they do nothing.
Yep.
Obviously, with 4 people on the board, they would be doing stuff.
So as Saul says, nobody is adjacent to either the Barkeep or the Goblin Bouncer, so they do nothing. And the Barkeep doesn't get to clear up any spillages because we keep forgetting to put them down. That is the end of the turn. Could you pass the token, please?
I can, actually.
Which is awesome. Because, you know, I only know to go because I've got the token in front of me. It's a very nice token, but without the one in front of me, I just would be stuck. I wouldn't know what I was doing. So I've got to run and get myself a couple of tokens. Well, I'll just remind myself what I've got here. I've got some bottles and I've got some cutlery. I need to get over to the other side of the board to start grabbing the stuff that's over there with Saul. Now, he's very handily set himself up as a very large target. So I'm going to be moving over. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm going to stand there so I'm out of any adjacent spaces in the event that anybody moves over to intercept me. I'm going to place a spillage token. I'm going to place a spillage token there, just to extend the period of time that it takes Saul to get back to his home table, because he's got to move around the token. He can't move diagonally. He must move either to the left or the right, or to up or down. And I'm going to then say, over to you, Saul. It's your turn.
Okay, I'm going to do something very strange. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. I'm going to drop both my tokens. And I'm going to go 4. So I can only move 4 that turn. And even after dropping 2 items, I can't move 4, more than 4 for that turn. But I can next turn.
That is sensible play, my friend.
Yeah.
That is sensible play. So, using the rules to full effect there, because as Saul rightly said, when you carry a token, you lose 1 movement of space. Now, what you don't acquire back when you drop those tokens is the missing spaces. This is a bit of a problem, isn't it? Because actually, if I walk around and I pick a token up and I lose a movement, I've planned for that. But if I'm planning to move further and drop on the way, I don't get that movement back. So I'm still restricted. So real debilitation in terms of carrying tokens on the board. But very sensibly done, sir. I think a challenge is afoot. As Saul's ended his move, we're on to the Goblin Bouncer and the Barkeep. Now, on this particular dice roll, I think, again, the dice gods are favouring me. We're going to move the Barkeep to position 1, and the Goblin moves all the way over to position 3, opening up the spaces on the board for a very, very nice direct approach to Saul, and maybe pinching some of his stuff. But at the end of that turn, Saul, I pass the token to you.
So, that was a small part of the grand plan here. It's going to take a bit of a setup, and it might be obvious, because I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. I'm going to take a token. Now, because it's not an action, I can do it whenever I want. And I'm going to place a spillage token. I'm going to go with there. Why not? And then, yeah, I'll end my turn there.
Awesome. Nice. Now, the board is starting to get a little bit busy, isn't it? We've got tokens being dropped down. We have the characters moving around anyway. But the spillage tokens really add an extra element to the game. The point of the spillage token, as you might imagine, is to slip up on. So you leave it lying around like a little booby trap to get your opponent in the event they step on it. But you can step on your own spillage tokens and get the same result. So, got to be careful with this. I'm going to go grab some of those tokens. Just want to check and see. So, there's a beer token that's down there, and there's a beer token that Saul has grabbed. I can only have 1 of those tokens. I need 5 different tokens to win the game, but I can only benefit from 1 token of each type. So I'm not interested in Saul's beer token, but I think he's got a plan. I think he's going to run out. Oh, he's left it there, hasn't he? It's a little trap, isn't it? And I can't resist it. I can't resist it. So I'm moving it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Taking a chair and a stool with me as I go.
Big feet.
Huge feet. And I'm going to place another spillage token. I'm going to try and trap Saul where he is. I'm going to keep him where he needs to be. So I can place a spillage token in a square adjacent to the green triangle, but I cannot place a spillage token on a square where there is any furniture, on a square where there is a green arrow, or where there is already a spillage token. So I place my spillage token in a position that I hope is going to trip Saul up. And I'm safe as houses right now, because there's no way either the barkeep or the bouncer goblin can get me next turn. But over to you, Saul. Let's see what these NPCs do.
So, as you say, they're not really going to do anything, but let's see where they end up. So, that's a 6 for the barman, goes there, and a 6 for the bouncer. Bouncer can't go to 6, so he gives the number 1.
Spot on.
And then, play passes to you.
Which is excellent. Thank you very much, brother. Really appreciate that. Now, it's a lovely little mechanic, that dice mechanic for the position of the NPCs. It's very simple, it's very slick, but it makes sure that your board, stays fairly compact, but still never gets too cluttered. Right, let's see where we're going to go with this. I have got to get me some chicken on a stick, or some of the beer that's just sitting there waiting to be picked up. Now, I've got a slight advantage. I am 1 ahead. I've got to take a little bit of a gamble. I'm going to go straight over my own spillage token. This could be catastrophe. Okay.
Hopefully.
So spillage tokens only activate when you move into the area with a spill. If a spill is placed where you already are and you move out of it, it doesn't affect you. But I'm going to move on to the spillage token. I'm going to roll off this. Well, you need to avoid 1s and 2s, don't we?
Yeah.
Really? So
you get a 1, you drop an item. You get knocked down. I can't remember.
I think you get knocked down on a 1. I think on a 2. You still slip, but oh no!
Yeah, you get knocked down on both.
Yeah,
you just lose an item if it's a 1.
You lose an item if it's a 1.
Yeah,
and you would get to place that item. So let's not get any 1s and 2s. Come on, dice gods, let's get on that. Oh, perfect! See, if you tell the universe and the dice gods hear you, they give you exactly what you ask for. Anything but, I believe is the phrase. Anything but. So I've rolled a 1, which is just brilliant. Luckily, I'm not carrying a token. So I don't lose the token. Saul doesn't get to place where he wants to, but I do slip on my own spillage.
And that gets rid of the spillage.
That returns the spillage token to me, and it leaves me lying flat on my back, waiting to pick myself up next turn. Saul, I bow to your deference.
I'm going to do something very strange, and I'm going to collect a token. That means that I can't move. But it does mean I have all the beer tokens. So that is 1 less token that Steve can get unless he attacks me. And I'm going to put a spillage token right there. Right next to your cup.
Thanks very much. Greatly appreciate it.
Then over to the NPCs.
Over to the NPCs. So, Saul is running all kinds of game here. I've got no idea what he's playing at, but, I'm pretty sure he just loves the beers. So let's see where we get to with our Goblin and our Bouncer. It's a 1 and a 2. It's not as exciting as you might imagine. I mean, I was kind of hoping that we get something a bit different, but here's a weird little thing. So the barkeep has to move to position 1. However, position 1 is occupied by the Goblin. So barkeep has to move to 2. Goblin then has to move to 2 as per the dice roll. However, position 2 is now occupied. So the Goblin moves to position 3. I mean, it's nice, it's slick, it's a very simple mechanic. I do like it. I'm muchly appreciative of the rules writers for that mechanic. It's a great little thing. On that basis, I'm going to just hand this over.
Brilliant. I've already pre-planned.
He knows what he's doing.
And I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and I can drop it there, can't I?
Yeah.
There? Can I drop it there?
Yeah, you can drop it anywhere you want to.
Okay, cool. I'm going to drop 2 beer tokens. Right there.
You see what he's doing? What he's doing is he's gathering all the resources into one corner to make me go as far away from my own home base as he can. This guy is smart. He's playing a long game. And I'm not. I'm just far too eager. Literally, this is cake and I'm hungry. Okay, so...
This is beer and it's all mine.
That's true, yeah. So that's your first turn over. I've got to stand up now, okay? So I knocked myself over last time. I stand up in position. I have 2 spaces to move. I mean, there's only one place I'm going, and Saul knows it. And I'm going to move my 2 spaces towards the tokens that Saul has very graciously taken out of the bar for me and left in the middle of the floor. So I'm going to see if I can get over to there. Would you like to see, Saul, what the NPCs do?
I would. Hopefully they go to number 1. So, bounce is going to 1. So the barkeep goes to 5. And unfortunately cleans my spillage. And then the goblin goes to number 1. We are safe. but for how long?
Time will tell.
Exactly.
And
You get the first player token.
Pass me the first player token, so I know it's my first turn, which is great. Right, I've got only one course of action in my mind, and that is to grab one of those tokens that I don't have, and I can get either of the two tokens that are available. So, just double checking that I can. Chicken or beer. I mean, really, is there a choice? I mean, I should be having both, right? Okay, but I'm going to take one. Now, what I can't do, as a strange little quirk in the rules, is I cannot re-enter a square that I have already been in my turn. So I've got to do a bit of a roundabout round robin here. So I'm going to move to the space with the token in. I am then going to take that token with me, move away, and I'm going to then double back on myself because I can't re-enter the square I've just left. So that's number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. Because I'm carrying a token, I'm down to a movement of 5. And then, because I don't want to get clobbered by Saul, I'm going to drop it. That's a bit, oh, isn't it though? A little bit. Gaming. Just using the rules there a little bit to my advantage. Over to you, Saul. What's your course of action?
I think, because you only need that to win, don't you?
I'll say yes.
So I can't just let him take it, but I can't see how I'm going to take it off him. So I guess we just go for a direct attack and I say, get out of my way.
I mean, it's fair, isn't it? Let's be honest. The guy's taking the last beer in the house, last bit of chicken. You got to get in there. It's a 3 for me, it's a 5 for you. It's a big 5. So
yeah, it is a big 5.
It's a big 5. You needed that 5.
So I'm going to push you out of the way, and I'm going to move on top of the chicken, which I'm pretty sure means I can just take the chicken and push everything out of the way at the same time. And that is my move.
That's a really good move. I mean, let's be honest, that's a really good move. He's done the old Blood Bowl shove, which is quite good. He's moved me out of the way. I, thinking I was actually being very savvy, dropped the token. He can pick up the token at any time for a free pickup, which he's now done. He now controls the token. I now need to do the same thing to get it off him. It's going to become a bit of a wrestling match, a bit of a tussle. But
over chicken.
Yeah, over chicken. And why not? It's chicken, bruh. Let's see what these NPCs do. Can I return your D6 to you? Is that right? Do you want this other one here?
Sure.
I am the gift that just keeps on giving, mate.
It's the cursed one.
Yeah, it's the cursed D6. It always rolls ones. Having said
Or
that, I think I've got the cursed one. So, okay. Barkeep is going to attempt to move to position 1. He can't because the goblin sits there. So Barkeep moves to position 2. The goblin switches out to position 3. Everybody's suddenly drifted over to one side. There must be a bit of a ruckus. Maybe the entertainment started and the singing started. Who knows? But we've all moved over to one side of their table. With that being shoved out of the way, I will hand that token number 1 to you. Very savvy.
I've only got movement of 5, but I can go 1, 2, take that, puts my movement down to 4, 3, 4, and I'm safe from the bouncer.
He is indeed. He's safe from the bouncer because if the spots, either the bouncer or the barkeep, would occupy with the dice roll, if it's already occupied, they can't be there, can they? So he's sitting on top of the spot they'd have to be, which is really, really, really sensible thinking. I would not be thinking this clearly at this stage of the game, gotta be honest. Right, I need to go and grab something though. I need to grab something in a hurry. I need to get away with it. And I'm going to go and grab myself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm not going to pick it up. I'm just going to occupy the space for the time being. And I'm going to pinch it because, as Saul alluded to, because when you're playing with 2 players, we've reduced the win conditions down to 3 tokens. I just need that 3rd token and we're good to go. But not this turn. Not this turn for me, brothers and sisters. Not this turn, but very soon. Would you like to roll those NPCs?
Yes. That was a bit of a drop, really, wasn't it?
Still pretty
But
good.
it still counts. Yeah. So, 2 5s, and the barman moves first, 5. And then the goblin moves to 5, but then 6. And it's your turn.
Quality. Right. So things are shaping up nicely. I don't know where Saul's going to go with this. I've just got to keep getting some pieces over to my side of the board. Maybe drop them. Maybe I've got to play a bit of a longer game here. But I'm going to pick up a single jug of ale. Okay. I want that beer, and I want it so bad I can taste it. It's like Ice Cold and Alex, only not quite. I'm going to move my 5 now, reduce from 6 to 5 because I'm carrying a token. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that is the end of my turn. And at this stage,
yeah,
over to you, Squire.
Kind of have to attack you, but I kind of want my stuff. So what I might do, I might go 1, 2, 3, 4. Drop both my items. And end it there.
Taking a bit of a gamble there. Saul has stopped his position adjacent to position 6 on the board. If that goblin doesn't go anywhere, that's going to be a ruckus. Let's see what the NPCs are going to do. Oh, it didn't go my way this time. The dice gods have indeed deserted me. They've moved on. It's going to be the barkeep moving to position 4, and the goblin is going to come all the way over to position 3, right in the way of my home run, which is not great, gotta be honest. Was hoping for better, but I pass the turn to you, sir, and I wish you all the best.
Okay, brilliant. I'm gonna go really crazy here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and pick up a present, and then pass my turn.
I like what you're thinking. Okay, so Saul's changed tack quite dramatically. All of a sudden, he's realised he's got 2 tokens, and if you get that 3rd token down there, he could win this. He can snatch this out from underneath me, and I can't do nothing about it because I'm miles away at this stage. So I'm going to just go straight for the home base, but I'm going to do it hopefully in a sensible way. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have a move of 5, but if I stand on number 2, I'm safe for a turn. I'm learning from you, mate. I'm learning from the best. So I'm going to carry my beer mug. I'm going to stop at position 2, and I'm going to invite you to roll the NPCs.
Oh, they're both 6s.
Big dice.
That's oh no.
Big dice.
So the barman goes to number 6, and then the goblin can't go to 6. He has to go to 1. Which now means I'm going to roll off with the goblin.
He is indeed in the roll off with the goblin.
Because I'm
player 1.
Player 1. That means that I have to roll for the goblin and myself. So green is going to be the goblin.
Goblin green.
I'm going to be red. So if the goblin had rolled higher than me, then I'd be kicked out of the pub.
He would be kicked out of the pub.
Kicked out of the pub. But luckily,
yes.
He's just ignoring me now. So I'm happy with that.
Which is happy days.
Got away with it.
He did get away with it. That's a quality move.
And it's your turn.
It would have been interesting. That would have been fun times ahead if the goblin had taken a dislike to Saul's character. So turn over to me. I'm carrying my beer. I'm looking at the game. Come on, let's not be daft about this. I know it's all about, letting the kids win. It's Christmas, and you always let the youngest person win at Christmas, don't you? That's just the way. That's the rules of the universe, right there. But not today. So I've got to play this rather cagily. I've got a movement of 5, but I don't need to do it all in one turn. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to stand on the NPC location so that it can't get me, and I am looking at a home run next turn. But I do pass the turn to you, sir.
Okay, well I'm going to start by putting a spillage token there. And then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. Yes. And then that's all that I can do.
All right, grand. And he's done all that he can do. So let's be honest, you can't fault the guy for trying, can you? He's done all he can do. Let's see what we can do with these NPCs. Let's see if that barkeep stays where he is and you have a little tussle with the barkeep, or maybe even the goblin steps in and we have a tussle with the goblin.
Maybe.
It's a 1 and a 4. Oh, it's kind of, it's okay. It's not bad for me. So barkeep would move to position 1, but he cannot. It's occupied. So instead he moves to position 2. The goblin green, as always, locates to position 4. I think they know something's going on. I think they know that they've got to get over here to stop me, but they can't because I've used Saul smarts. I only learnt it from Saul, let's be honest. And I've taken over position 3, so they can't be in position 3. So I'm fairly safe. It's just that slippage token that I'm concerned about. But I will pass over the first player token. Let's see what Saul can do.
So I can't just bank because you're going to get to your table. So I'm thinking, can I go 1, to drop a token, 3, 4, 5. It's a bit risky, and I don't think it's going to work because you're going to get the double turn.
I don't think it gives you
So
the
I
legs.
think you really want it.
I think you could be right.
It's worth a punt.
It's worth a punt, isn't it? It's always worth a punt. When all else fails, you've still got hope, Saul. You've still got hope.
I don't have any hope here now that you're getting a double turn.
I don't even think I'm going to need a double turn, to be honest. It's passed on to me. I've got 5s on my movement. And I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. End my turn on my table. I'm going to drop off my token. I'm going to say thank you and good night. Merry Christmas, one and all. It's been an absolute pleasure taking you through this 24 lead-up episodes to our 25th episode for the Mantic Games Advent Calendar. Wait, Saul, wait. Merry Christmas, and we'll see you all in the new year. Check us out for some fantastic content coming up in 2024. Until then, good night.